man has been forced to sell his house after fighting for years to keep what he calls his natural garden, but the city of Longwood called it a health hazard. Now, after hundreds of thousands of dollars in unpaid fines, Sean Law has agreed to sell his house on East Main Avenue in Longwood and move. News 13's David Bowden joins us live from his house now. And David, how long has this battle with the city and with his neighbors been going on?
Well, Marla, we're told this has been going on for some 4 years, costing the city of Longwood and ultimately Sean Law tens of thousands of dollars. Take a look behind me. Everything looks pretty much cleaned up here now on the property. But parties on all sides of the issue still have some very strong feelings about what an individual has the right to do on their own property.
We've asked him to trim it or cut it down or back it up a little bit, but he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't have nothing to do with it.
This is what Sean Law's yard looked like for years, according to neighbors. Weeds, tall grass, and vegetables growing in the front and backyard of his home. A nature preserve to Law, a nuisance to many neighbors.
Oh, it was horrible. I mean, it was almost all the way up to my thigh.
The city of Longwood got involved, along with code enforcement. Over the years, some $200,000 in fines were amassed, and the case bounced from court to court. Law recently reached an agreement with the city to pay a reduced fine of $80,000 and sell his home and move.
It's a very, very unique situation. There's a lot of animosity in this situation. There's a lot of just flagrant snubbing of, snubbing your nose at the law. And, at the end of the day, the law is the law. If you don't like the law, you can fight to change it. You can certainly work with the city to alter it.
Well, after years of complaints, the property is all cleaned up now, ready for its new owner. But surprisingly, there are some folks in the neighborhood who aren't so happy to see Sean go.
Didn't bother you?
At all. No, at all. At all, because the house was neat. He has his house in very good condition.
But it was the yard that many simply could not get past.
Maybe you can move out to the country somewhere where you can grow stuff like that.
Now, of course, those ordinances that were violated have to deal with overgrowth and it being a public health hazard. Now, according to the agreement that Law reached with the city, he has to sell the house. We understand it is under contract, and he has to move at least a mile away from the property. That could happen as early as next month. We will keep you posted. For now, we are live in Longwood. David Bowden, News 13.
With this sad passing, Aubrey still lives on, and so does someone else now.
Heartache and yet hope after the death of a little girl who was hit by an SUV last month. The family of Aubrey Clark made the decision to donate her organs. News 13's David Bowden spoke with a close family friend, and David, we understand that friend was there as the 11-year-old was taken off of life support.
That's right. As you can imagine, this is a devastating time for the family. 10-year-old Aubrey Clark and a friend were both hit by an SUV as they rode home from their Ocoee school. Now, Aubrey suffered devastating brain injuries that her family learned just last night she would not recover from. They had to make the difficult decision to remove her from life support.
I can't imagine having to go through this on Danny's side. I just can't even comprehend what he's going through right now.
Family friend Dan Oliver was there as family members of 10-year-old Aubrey Clark had to make the tough decision to remove her from life support. The little girl had been in a medically induced coma since she and a schoolmate were hit by an SUV last month. Yesterday, doctors at Arnold Palmer Hospital performed an MRI on Aubrey. The results were not good.
At that point, it was known that her brainstem was damaged beyond repair, and the state that Aubrey was in was never going to have an opportunity to improve. She was never going to be able to breathe on her own. She would never communicate. She'd never speak or be conscious.
So late last night, the family made the decision to remove her from life support and donate Aubrey's organs.
Last night, we understand that there was a rush, exact match in Tampa for someone who was in desperate need of the kidneys, and they flew them out last night immediately.
Aubrey's father is an Osceola County firefighter. Dan says it's a brotherhood in the fire department, and they are mourning along with Aubrey's family.
From the time that Aubrey's been here, the firefighters have been here. We haven't left her side. We've signed up for shifts for overnight sleeps.
Now, Dan tells me that They will celebrate Aubrey's life this weekend. It was a memorial that was supposed to raise money for her medical bills, and that will now help with funeral expenses. You can find more information on that on our website, mynews13.com. Now, as for the man who allegedly hit Aubrey, 40-year-old Stevie Howard, we have been working with the Ocoee Police Department all day trying to find out if charges against him will be upgraded. So far, we have not heard back, but once we do, we of course will pass that information along to you. For now, we are live outside of the Arnold Palmer Hospital. I'm David Bowden, News 13.
In Osceola County, an elementary school worker has been charged with child abuse. Kissimmee police say 26-year-old Franklin Santos.
To me, it doesn't matter how we get there.
John Morgan says after spending millions of dollars of his own money in the effort to get medical marijuana added to Florida's Constitution and watching it fall short, he's now ready for a new approach.
A lot of people wanted this. One of their best arguments was, number one, it doesn't belong in the Constitution because then you can't fix it if you don't like something. I agree with that.
A recent poll by Gravis Marketing of nearly 700 eligible voters shows 64% say they would support an amendment legalizing medical marijuana in 2016. 26% oppose it. Concerns over where the dispensaries will be and just how many seems to cause support to drop off. So Morgan says if the change comes through Florida's legislature, he and his brother Tim will support that. Tim Morgan has been using medical marijuana for decades after a devastating accident left him a quadriplegic at age 18.
It was 1977. I was at Walt Disney World. I was a lifeguard.
During a rescue attempt, Tim dove into unfamiliar water.
When I dove in, I hit an anchor that was there that we didn't know was there, like a big cement pylon. And I broke my neck, ended up a C6-7 quadriplegic.
Since then, he says he's been plagued with violent muscle spasms and other severe ailments like autonomic dysreflexia that causes almost constant pain.
It tells your body you're in a stroke mode, and you break out in a profusive sweat, a headache, like just a piercing in your head, and just shakes.
He says medical marijuana not only helps him, but will also help thousands of other people across the state with pain from ailments ranging from epilepsy to cancer.
Until it's you. Until it happens to you, it's a different story.
The winds of political change are blowing in historic Eatonville, but some feel they're not blowing hard enough.
The same people have been running over and over again, and they're not making no changes towards the town.
Elections here in Eatonville are just over 2 weeks away. The mayor says in this town of 2,500 people, the majority of those running for office have run for and held office before. And before that, and even before that. He says that's a problem.
And it's like a revolving door.
Mayor Bruce Mount admits the city's charter says nothing about term limits, so those who run for town offices keep running, himself included.
So I sat on the city council about 12 years, and then after that I ran for mayor. So this is my second term as mayor.
The mayor says he would like to see more people step up.
I think young people will make a difference, but I think they would want to see the government working well. And I personally don't think the government is working well. So that's what I think deter people.
But there are those who feel it's a good thing to stay the course with people you know.
I would not like to see a lot of change in the sense of get a new mayor, get new people or whatever, right? Because all they're going to know is what the mayor tell them. And sometimes that can be a negative.
Still, the mayor believes the future of Eatonville depends on getting some new faces at Town Hall.
I personally would like to see new people come. I would like to see younger people come. I would like, because we're not going to be here forever.
Well, if no one steps up to challenge the established politicians, maybe they will.
And that's what really grinds my gears.
In Eatonville, I'm David Bowden, News 13.